Nothing on the Bonnell Foundation's Living with Cystic Fibrosis podcast should be considered medical advice. Medical advice can only come from your CF physician. Cystic fibrosis can be a devastating diagnosis, but living with the disease can bring positivity and a new appreciation for each day. From the Bonnell Foundation in Detroit, Michigan, it's the Living with Cystic Fibrosis podcast, sponsored by Vertex Pharmaceutical. Here's your host, Laura Bonnell.
19-year-old Atef Choudhury and 18-year-old Naim Mashni are both sophomores at MSU, and they have found their voices. Atef has a nephew with CF, and that is what made him want to start to raise awareness on campus. And so Cure Found MSU was born. In their young lives, these two men have accolades too long to list here. Just know that they're very smart and motivated to change the world. They work closely with the CF clinic at MSU, run by Dr. Ryan Thomas. Part of what they do is to offer their 70 members top-tier opportunities in the field of medicine. So along with resume building, they also fundraise. In 2023, they will be doing some fundraising for the Bonnell Foundation and the CF Foundation. You'll be inspired to do more yourself after you hear everything that Atef and Naim are up to. Our hats off to them for their enthusiasm, sense of community, and for all the ways that I know they're going to change the world for the better. So thank you both for joining us. It's so wonderful to hear about young people getting so involved and doing something wonderful to impact your community. So, Atef, why don't we start with you and then we'll talk to Naim. But you said it was your nephew who has cystic fibrosis, and that's what got you started in this? Cure Found MSU?
Yeah, so Cure Found MSU was motivated because, I'm a pre-med student at MSU, hoping one day to go into medical school. And then my nephew was diagnosed with cystic fibrosis back in 2017. So I did a lot of fundraising events in high school related to CF and did like community day events because my high school is located in Troy, Michigan, and the CF Foundation is like the Michigan chapter is very close by in Troy. So we collaborated with them, which kind of inspired me to create a club at MSU related to raising awareness for cystic fibrosis and kind of fundraising, advocating. And a lot of people in college, even pre-med students, have heard of CF, but they don't really know the whole background of what it does to an individual, the day-to-day life of an individual with cystic fibrosis. So I thought it would be a great way to kind of raise awareness for this rare genetic disease. So I got right on it with Naim and our other co-president who couldn't be here with us today, Alexis. And we reached out to the Michigan State University Cystic Fibrosis Center and got Dr. Thomas on board, who serves as our formal faculty advisor.
And he's on our advisory board for the Bonnell Foundation and connected me to you, which is wonderful. And Naim, tell us how and why you're connected to this and working with this project.
So I'm a pre-med student as well, hoping to go into medical school in the future. And once Atef brought this idea that we could integrate cystic fibrosis into our club, so we can like teach everyone about and raise awareness for pulmonary medicine and cystic fibrosis, as well as offering like top tier pre-medical opportunities to members who join, because they're also like mainly pre-med as well, or pre-health. I thought it was a great idea to like give back and then start this new organization to succeed off of and help others.
So it's not just to raise awareness, you raise funds and you're helping students?
We raise funds, and then we also do volunteer service for, like, for example, our first meeting for Cure Found was to create capes and cards. That was our first one for this semester. We had others previously last year, but we made capes and cards for cystic fibrosis patients in the hospital. So we gave those away. So we do like volunteer work as well as raising awareness too.
That is wonderful. And Atef, what have you learned so far with this organization? I mean, you come into it with a knowledge of the disease, but how has this changed you having this organization?
I mean, I guess it kind of gave me a bigger insight and like allowed me to learn about the bigger picture of what cystic fibrosis does to an individual. So in the beginning, I kind of only had my nephew's perspective, and he also has autism. So that affects his day-to-day life as well. And with all of his treatments, at first, I just thought CF was like this disease that kind of takes over a whole like individual's daily life and like the way they go about their life. And like raising awareness for it and kind of getting other people on board for this club. We also attended the CF Research and Arts Forum at MSU, which there was a lot of patients with cystic fibrosis. Dylan was there and he spoke about his experience with cystic fibrosis. So just hearing these different perspectives of people with CF allowed me to kind of learn that these are individuals who live normal lives, but they have this disease that they're battling with their normal day-to-day life. So they do normal things like do sports in school, they run clubs, they're part of clubs, they're part of different organizations, but they just have this disease where they have to do these treatments every single day and just have this barrier to overcome, this battle to face while they're doing normal things like healthy individuals.
And people listening can't see, but that's Dylan Mortimer's artwork there, who you met, which is wonderful. He's fantastic. I just think it's really important because you potentially could be a carrier for cystic fibrosis, Atef, right? And I think it's just so important to raise awareness. And Naim, tell me about some of the events and things that you do that you're proud of.
Yeah. So one thing we're proud of is, like Atef said, raising awareness, and kind of bouncing off of that, me as well, before really diving into this club, I had a broad idea of cystic fibrosis and like, the treatments that they go through. But once we got into this club and started having a bunch of these events, I learned like a lot of the day-to-day treatments and plans they go into treating someone with CF. And one thing that we're very proud of is we, through like help with Dr. Thomas, we've had our members, and it's continuing on to next semester, shadow Dr. Thomas at the MSU CF Center. So what this does is it gives our members like actual face-to-face interaction with CF patients so they can understand like who they are, what they come in with, and how they get treated.
And you're also helping the Bonnell Foundation. I know you're going to be working with our intern, which is really exciting. I'm just so impressed with all you're doing. How do you both have time to do this, squeeze in a podcast in between classes? I mean, you're both doing a lot of work, and you're still undergrads, aren't you?
Yeah, we're still undergrads. I mean, it's definitely a lot of work, but I mean, if you have a drive in something that you're looking forward to do, the work tends not to feel such as like hard work, but more of something that you're like looking forward to and always thinking of the next thing to do and how to collaborate and how to like build what you're working on.
I can add on. I feel like kind of what Naim said, if it's something that you're passionate about, no matter how much time it takes. And like, yeah, Cure Found does take a lot of our time, where if we're planning for an event, it takes hours and hours of us collaborating, figuring out what equipment we need for an event. I'm getting in touch with different pulmonologists or doctors, medical school students to come in and give kind of like a talk, and just setting like those aspects and like the behind the scenes aspect of the club up takes a good portion of our time, but it's something that we're excited to do. And we're always looking forward for the next event. What's there to come for CF? We started off with about 20 members, and now we have about 70 to 75. And we have people interested in joining the executive board. We have people constantly emailing us about joining the club. And we're like really surprised and excited that we have this many members interested in making a difference in the community of cystic fibrosis and just learning more about CF and being a part of this club that offers premier pre-medical opportunities. Even besides CF, we offer opportunities like suture clinics, IV injection events, and other ways members can be part of the community and volunteer their time.
So you're really going to be leaving a legacy when you graduate there. I mean, it's not going to go away when you both graduate, right?
Yeah, the plan is for it to continue on for the next class years.
That's fantastic. Tell me about other things that you're doing that are in the works right now.
We're planning for events coming up. Next semester, we have a lot of interesting events, and I don't know if we're going to say exactly what we're going to do, but to get them excited, we'll have another event, a dissection event. So we'll have frogs, and we'll have this members dissect them, and we'll have someone come in to teach those members how to properly dissect in the anatomy of that. That's one of the events that we're doing. And next semester, we have a lot of shadowing opportunities. We're right now we're linking them with Dr. Thomas in the MSU CF Center. So next semester, a lot of those members will be actually volunteering in the CF Center, continuing out through the semester in the spring. And that's another thing we have going on. And we have a lot of other stuff that we're working on. A lot of this stuff takes a lot of tedious communication. So it's in the works, but it takes a long time to get a configured plan for it.
Yeah. And then I can also add on, we hope to start fundraising with, of course, you guys, the Bonnell Foundation. And also we hope to start working with raising funds and kind of getting members excited for the Great Strides Walkathon that happens during May, since May is Cystic Fibrosis Awareness Month. So we're hoping to kind of work on that second semester, since it'll be a little closer to that event. And I know that there's multiple walkathons that take place in Royal Oak, Auburn Hills, and Ann Arbor. So we hope that members from, because obviously these students are from MSU, so they're either from out of state or all over Michigan. So hopefully there's a location that members can attend that are close to their homes for the CF walkathon.
I have an idea for you, for you both, for Cure Found MSU. I mean, can you do any research? Can you look at the intestinal issues with GI doctors in regard to CF? It's a huge issue in the CF community that's under-researched. And I'm wondering about colon cancer in people with cystic fibrosis, another huge issue that is just starting to get recognition, and people with CF are now being asked to test for colon cancer at age 30. And also people who are carriers are being told to test for colon cancer at age 40. So those are two great things maybe students could take on and do some research, because it's very needed. There's definitely not enough.
Yeah, for sure. And that kind of builds off from one of the executive board members who was connected to Dr. Quinn, who does research on cystic fibrosis. And he was one of the main persons who ran the CF Research and Arts Forum back in October that we participated in. And Maddie was connected with Dr. Quinn through Dr. Thomas to do research as a research assistant in his lab related to CF. I'm not exactly sure what specifically she does, but it's bio-related, and she's working with CF and kind of how the future of CF and doing more research with researching more about what CF does to an individual. So I thought that was pretty neat that she was connected to Dr. Quinn through Dr. Thomas from this club.
That is wonderful. Do you also fundraise for Cure Found MSU so that you can keep programs going?
Yeah, we do. So for first semester, we were awarded a fund from ASMSU where we were able to use that fund towards events, food, and equipment that we needed. Second semester, we're going to start fundraising to raise funds for Cure Found MSU specifically, so we can kind of keep this club going and get as many kids equipment and that sort of thing that's necessary to keep this club going.
And Naim, what is the response of your students? You have 70 students. You must really be doing fabulous work to get 70 other students involved.
Yeah, and you're asking the response of them?
Yeah, why are they joining? What are they excited about?
They initially are attracted to the club, I guess, because they're in pre-med or pre-health. But the reason why I believe that they stay in the club and continue coming to the meetings is because the environment we build and the volunteer work and kind of the group that we built around everyone. If you come into one of our meetings, it's not really everyone just sitting down. No one's communicating, and it's very quiet, and we're not really learning. But when you come into our events, it's especially when there's a group speaker, everyone's very interactive with the speaker. Everyone's very readily to learn. And that's one thing that keeps people excited, that I believe continues to make them come to the next meeting and the next meeting. And we also do offer very interesting opportunities for them. So considering that they're pre-med, pre-health, shadowing, for example, the shadowing through Dr. Thomas, I guess they get a shadow because that's something they got to do when they're pre-med or pre-health. But not only do they shadow, they build off of what they've learned through our events about cystic fibrosis, and they get to see it in person and face-to-face with these patients that come in with cystic fibrosis. So I believe that it's kind of like a holistic benefit to them to learning about cystic fibrosis. And they not only come into the meetings to learn about it, but outside of that, they can learn it through shadowing or through the walkathon and many other venues that we built for them to learn more and build their knowledge about cystic fibrosis.
And Dr. Ryan Thomas, obviously a really good mentor for you. He's given you, sounds like, some fabulous direction. How important is that relationship for you and Cure Found MSU?
It's very important. We find it very beneficial because he's a great person to bounce ideas off of, or if you have an idea that he can, help you coordinate. And he's been very helpful so far, and we greatly appreciate his help in this, what we've started so far at Cure Found.
Yeah, and I would go as far as to say he's kind of the backbone of the Cure Found MSU. When I first thought of this idea, he was the first person that I reached out to asking if he would be willing to participate in this club and serve as the faculty advisor. And he was super eager that there were students interested in raising awareness for cystic fibrosis. And he kind of got on board right away, even though he has so many other commitments as the CF director or the head pulmonologist at MSU CF Center. And he takes on so many other roles at MSU and MSU College of Human Medicine and Osteopathic Medicine, I believe. So I think that his work is very beneficial to us, and we're very grateful that he serves as the faculty advisor.
And why did you both decide medicine? Why did medicine speak to you?
I can go first. So for me, I've always been interested in medicine from a young age because I've always been interested in volunteering my time and doing the greater good for my community. As a high schooler, I volunteered at Ascension St. John Hospital, and that's where I first kind of gained patient to patient and patient to provider experience, where I would walk into rooms and see nurses and doctors interacting with patients. And I was like, yeah, this is something that I want to do in my future. And then after my nephew was diagnosed with cystic fibrosis, I kind of started doing more research related to CF and pulmonary medicine, and that the work that pulmonologists do is super interesting and beneficial to kind of treating CF patients with the disease that they have. So kind of a culmination of things from volunteering to shadowing and just my nephew being diagnosed with CF motivated me to want to pursue a pre-med track in undergrad and hopefully attend medical school after completing my undergrad degree.
And Naim?
Definitely, it started early on in high school. And then one thing, so there was this class like junior year, I remember, where we had to, instead of having a class, we'd have to shadow someone. So I chose to shadow at an urgent care. So throughout this journey of shadowing throughout the semester at this urgent care, I really built knowledge for like Atef said, the patient to provider interaction. Then once you really start to fall in love with that, and then helping patients that come in, it starts to gain your interest. And then after that, I guess I really bounce off of that, other ideas bounce off of that. So I started volunteering at Beaumont and Farmington Hills, and then just internal research that I just did about medicine gained my attraction. So that's really the main reason why I want to pursue a career in the medical field. And off of that, other stuff happened, such as research. I joined research, and then I'm part of the M-Twin study here at MSU, and that gained my attraction for the pre-med field as well, and learning and helping more about patients. That's why I want to pursue a path in the medical field.
It's wonderful. You're both so motivated, it's not the word I was thinking of, just so engaged in the community and making a difference already. It's so impressive. And I had a suggestion. If you have not had a parent speaker yet, you should have a CF parent speaker, because we have so much to teach new incoming doctors about the relationship between the doctor, the parent, and then the child with cystic fibrosis, and the difference when they transition to the adult clinic even. It's just a whole different situation. So that would be my suggestion. What else is important that you want to talk about in regard to Cure Found MSU?
Yeah, and back to the parent thing, I know that you have a child with CF, so maybe we can have you come in and be the parent speaker.
I would love to. Consider it done. I'm there whenever. I will absolutely. Yeah. I have 2 daughters with CF, and they're just a little bit older than you.
We'll definitely be in touch about that and other things that relate to Cure Found MSU, I would say definitely for members to stay tuned for more shadowing and volunteer opportunities. We're going to have an event, our kickoff for the semester event in January when we get back after winter break and Christmas and like the new year. It's going to be a bracelet and cards event where we make bracelets and cards for children with cystic fibrosis, and Dr. Nasser from U of M agreed to collaborate with us and get in touch with U of M's volunteer services so we can donate these cards to the U of M CF Center, because I know that CF Center is much bigger, and as compared to MSU CF Center, they have, I think Dr. Nasser mentioned, about 300 children, and I forget the exact number of adult patients, but it was something that was way more than MSU since they're definitely bigger.
Well, thank you both. I really appreciate your time. Thanks for making this work in your crazy schedule. Really heartwarming to hear everything you're doing, and I'm glad you're doing it. So thank you very much, both of you.
Yeah.
Thanks for having us on. We appreciate it.
Yeah, thank you so much for having us.
The original music in this podcast is performed by Kevin Allen,
It's not complicated.
who happens to have cystic fibrosis.
We all got our worries and fears. I know it's got you frustrated, but loving you is so alright.
This has been the Living with Cystic Fibrosis podcast. For more information and to learn more about the Bonnell Foundation, visit our website at thebonnellfoundation.org. That's the BONNELL Foundation.org. This podcast was sponsored by Viatris, Genentech, and Vertex. It was produced by Jag and Detroit Podcasts. Follow our show on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or wherever you're listening right now.